I'm Commander Shepard, and you're watching Game On, my favorite show on the Citadel.
Thanks, Mark Meer, voice of Commander Shepard. Hello, welcome to Game On, the gaming show that's just been given a weekly budget of £4.80 for props. $3.99. Coming up.
The world is a vampire.
Blasting aliens with Dead Space 2.
And befriending aliens with Mass Effect.
Our Dead Space 2 review is coming right up, just as soon as Isaac stops dossing at his desk and writes the damn thing.
To get you in the mood, though, we thought we'd do a quick chart.
No, I hate charts, you know this.
Yeah, I thought I'd do a quick chart. So without any further ado...
Don't do it.
Here comes Game On's most favouriteest, scariest, gamesist ever. List.
Ba 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 ba.
From hilarious meme to terrifying title, it's Spaghetti Face himself, Call of Cthulhu.
Romper Stomper, Engineer Chomper, say hello to Isaac Clarke, but don't expect him to say hello back in the original Dead Space.
From cool original to cheesy nacho, it's Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare.
Also full of zombies, it's the original Resident Evil.
The man who sounds like he should be in a library, it's Alan Wake, the writer.
And coming to haunt your dreams and devour your parsnips, it's Pony Friends 2.
Now, we love a good scare here at Game On, and Johnny, why have you got that? Why have you got that on your head?
Well, we're going to review Dead Space 2. I'm getting in character. I'm Isaac.
No, you look absolutely ridiculous. Take the t-shirt off your head.
This took me ages. I mean, I even wore my Smashing Pumpkins shirt because they're in the launch trailer.
Take it off.
Oh, for God's sake.
Not the Smashing Pumpkins one, the one on your head.
Oh.
You're just being awkward.
Yes, he's been away 3 long years, but Isaac Clarke is finally back for another bloody chunk of monster slicing action.
We rejoin Mr. Clarke as he wakes up in a hospital facility a few years after the events of the Ishimura.
Clearly they were pumping some fairly good drugs into him as he's actually learned to talk, despite pretty much being in a coma for 3 years.
I'm not running anymore. I know what I have to do.
Yeah, it seems like a small addition, but Isaac learning to talk is pretty much the biggest change to come to the series for Dead Space 2.
Whereas the Isaac of the first game was a cold character verging on the robotic, in the second he actually feels like a person.
Yeah, he's not exactly Martin Luther King, but the dialogue is enough to actually craft a character. There are also several moments when his helmet retracts, reminding you there's a human being suffering under all that metal.
Isaac, I know you're confused right now, but you gotta trust me, okay?
From a few other reviews, we know not everyone has enjoyed Isaac nattering on in an American accent, but we think he's alright. That said, he didn't say much when he dropped into the office.
That's because you challenged him to an arm wrestle.
So winner gets to keep the plasma cutter, deal? Alright, shake on it. Let's go. 3, 2, 1, go. Fair enough. You can keep the gun, that's fine.
Pansy?
Hey, he was holding the side of the table. He fights dirty.
Yes. Yes, he does. Gameplay-wise, Dead Space 2 is every bit as gruesome as its predecessor, packed full of the same tense, gory action, designed solely to get your heart rate up.
Pretty much nothing has changed from the first core mechanics, making it a very familiar experience, even if you've only played a couple of hours on Dead Space in the past.
Still, the experience ain't broke, so there's little point in sending the engineer to fix it, you see.
He's an engineer.
Thanks.
Instead, Visceral have let him get on with dismembering things, playing to their strengths and not trying anything too radical.
Indeed, it's in those strengths Dead Space 2 really stands out as a leader, not just in the horror survival genre, but in terms of linear games overall.
The game's action is tightly scripted, giving it an excellent pace. The first couple of hours are incredibly tense, with frequent scares and a constant sense of vulnerability.
Where the hell am I?
As Isaac gets more kitted out though, the game shifts into more of a fast-paced shooter. So while the moments of panic are still frequent, it feels like you're giving as good as you're getting.
All my memories. Everything
While the positioning of things like save points gives you an idea of when things are going to get intense, the seams in the pacing never really show up as one might expect from other scripted titles.
In short, Dead Space 2 is tremendous fun to play through and leaves you thinking, I see what they've done there, even though you don't really know who they are.
Or whether they are going to jump out and bite your face off.
Well, the Necromorphs didn't write the game, though, did they?
No, but they do make it.
Is that a clever segue into the next point about the
It was,
game?
wasn't it?
Good. Yeah, the Necromorphs are back in force in Dead Space 2, and while there are a number of familiar faces, there are also some entirely new ones in the mix.
If you've ever wanted to punch the head off a toddler,
And who hasn't?
Dead Space 2 is your chance as the pack swarms in to bulk up the nightmarish roster.
As scary as the pack is, though, the Stalkers are our real favourite, using some clever AI to get the better of you.
Basically, one will peek out from behind cover to try and draw your attention and your fire.
And that's when the attack comes not from the front, but from the side, from the other two Stalkers you didn't even know were there.
Clever girls.
In short, Dead Space 2's campaign doesn't change a huge amount, but nonetheless delivers a taut, intense experience that'll leave you genuinely unnerved, whether you've played the first game or not.
Turn the lights off, crank the sound up, and you're guaranteed to scare yourself silly.
Failing that, you could always jump on the multiplayer and try scaring someone else silly. Probably the most significant addition in Dead Space 2 is the multiplayer mode. It's a round-based affair with a team of necromorphs trying to stop a band of humans as they try to complete objectives.
So how well does Dead Space translate to multiplayer? Well, firstly, the sense of fear is stripped away considerably. Obviously, by its very nature, the multiplayer isn't scripted, so comes nowhere near the fear potential of the single player.
However, it is undeniably fun working with other engineers,
Or other necromorphs.
making it feel like more of a coordinated effort.
Indeed, coordination is key in Dead Space 2, as it's most definitely not a gun and run experience.
Whether you're playing as a human or a necromorph, if you don't cooperate with your teammates, you just aren't going to survive.
Visceral have done a really good job of balancing the two teams to the extent each round is determined solely by how well the players gel together.
Playing as a necromorph is definitely fun and forces you to play tactfully right from the start. Trying to take out the engineers really makes you appreciate the AI on offer in the single player.
Which is to say you're rubbish at being a necromorph?
A little bit.
The shock mine has been deactivated.
Anyway, admittedly it took me a while to warm to Dead Space 2's multiplayer, and to be honest, I'm still not 100% enthralled. However, it is an undeniably well-crafted experience and provides some impressive expansion to the title.
It's over.
Talking of expansion, it's all about immersion in Dead Space, something EA have got pretty nailed on.
Over and above the game itself, there are graphic novels and films, the latest of which is the gory Dead Space Aftermath. Now, I know what you're thinking.
That's a gimmick!
Yes, thank you for clearing that up. However, Aftermath is simply quite a fun way to kill an hour or so and get you further into the mindset before playing the game. The t-shirts are quite fun too.
Seriously, if you put that on your head again, I will stamp on them both. Stamp on the t-shirt, on the head, crunch.
All right.
It's not even funny.
Tetchy.
You may have seen a snippet earlier this week on Game On, but a few days ago, Mark Meer, aka Commander Shepard from Mass Effect, dropped in for a chit-chat.
Knowing it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, we asked him about sex noises in Mass Effect 2.
Standard.
It did feel somewhat surreal, especially because, it's particularly in the case of Tally, it was my wife Belinda who'd done the temp dialogue for Tally before the other actress had recorded the real dialogue. So I was actually listening to my wife doing Tally's voice in the booth as I did Shepard's end of things. So it was quite funny. The sound technicians thought it was very funny.
Puerile as ever. Nice work, Johnny. Don't suppose you actually did any real journalism and asked him about Mass Effect 3?
I did, actually.
And what did he say?
Not much.
Little bits and pieces, preliminary stuff has started, but I really can't say much because BioWare has my family.
That's it, Johnny. You had the Commander Shepard.
One of the Commander
Don't
Shepards.
interrupt me now. You had the Commander Shepard in this studio, Mark Meer, the voice of Commander Shepard, and that's all you got out of him on Mass Effect 3.
BioWare have his family. Anyway, while it might not seem like much, let's just stop and look at the facts, shall we? Firstly, if there's one man who knows a bit about Mass Effect, it's going to be Mark Meer. He's a prized feature of the series, so of course they're going to be showing him stuff early on. He's also a self-confessed power nerd, so he knows what he likes. If he's excited, we should be excited. The franchise is in good hands.
Yeah, but he does work for BioWare. It's not like he's going to come out and say, it looks like ass.
You look like ass.
Really? That's childish.
If Shepard doesn't bring help soon.
Of course, Mark is a professional actor and has a number of credits to his name besides voicing Shepard. What we wanted to know, though, was if he could voice any game character in history, who would it be and why?
Well, any game character in history. Well, there's a lot of good ones out there. But I've always been a huge comic book fan. And I do tend to gravitate towards villains as well as my favorite characters. And of all the supervillains out there, and there are some great ones, Dr. Victor Von Doom, Dr. Doom, Monarch of Latveria. I would pick him. Yes. Sort of Eastern European accent. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'd definitely go with Dr. Doom.
How is your Dr. Doom impersonation?
Oh, well, you're asking me to do it after 3 days with no sleep.
Wait, he hadn't slept in 3 days?
Yeah, he'd just done an improvathon.
What?
Essentially, it's a long-form improv show. The improvathon has a continuous narrative, unlike other sort of improv marathons where you might see a lot of short form. And it's also unique in that you have a large number of people who do the entire thing. So upwards of 20 people staying up for the length of this show, creating a story, creating a fictional universe, essentially together, an alternate reality with its own rules. And so coming back to reality, not only physically but mentally, it can be a little taxing.
Blimey.
Twisted duplicate of Superman, Bizarro.
That's it from us for this week. We're off to saw the legs off some poultry.
What, like Dead Space cosplay? Isn't that taking it a bit far?
Dead Space cosplay. I'm just hungry. I'm going to bone some chicken. More gaming grouse next week. You want some?
Ba 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 ba.
Hello, welcome to Game On, the gaming show that's just been given a weekly budget of £4.80 for props.
Ah!
$3.99. Ah, it's really painful.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It's actually more painful than if you'd actually got a knife and put it through my head.
It's terrible.
Ah! It digs in.
Hello and welcome. Ow. I might start taking it off a bit more slowly, seductively, because I don't want to show my nips on the internet, really. The game's action is excellent. So how well does Dead Space translate to multiplayer? I'll let you know.
I'll tell you immediately.
Not from the front, but from the side.
Oh, yeah. It's Jurassic Park, isn't it?
It is.
Velociraptors.
Na 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 na.
Beautiful.